The sacrifice of Isaac is a story that I've always wanted to tell. It's such a confusing and paradoxical account. It touches on so many themes: struggle, contradiction, faith, courage, and triumph. I've grown up with works such as Handel's Messiah and Bach's Passions that are so wonderful and deep and dear to me and so many others. But I've wanted always to tell a story from the Old Testament from a Jewish perspective. Hence, the sacrifice of Isaac. The problem as a composer is that the actual account of the sacrifice of Isaac from the Bible is very terse and doesn't afford a composer or a dramatist the space and length to have a full hour-long oratorio from the text that's presented alone. And as such, I needed a way to flesh out the account in this uniquely Jewish perspective. So I turned to what are called midrashim, or in singular, a midrash. A midrash is an ancient rabbinical teaching on the text biblically. And through searching, through many anthologies, so to speak, I found fascinating ways to shine different lights on the text. Such as, I found a text where Satan comes and taunts Isaac and says in these words from the Midrash, "Your old man has gone mad." I found another Midrash where the angels argue with God and question God. This is unnatural, they say. How can you do this to Abraham, who hosts guests and is so kind? It's unnatural. Of course, the account climaxes with the actual attempted sacrifice of Isaac. And at that point in the music, I have the orchestra playing forte and the choir singing full blast. I even have a shofar or two blasting through the orchestra itself. And at that moment, I cut off the music right before Abraham's about to slaughter Isaac. The lights go out and the spotlight shines on Isaac. And here's the chance, dramatically, for Isaac to speak his mind. And I had an important choice as a composer of what text to give Isaac at that point. I could have easily given him something that most of us would project upon Isaac, which is, "I'm gonna die, this is it." But I chose an old liturgical text, around 400 years old, called Yedid Nefesh, which is a liturgical poem still said to this very day on the Jewish Sabbath, between the soul and God, where the soul expresses its longing and desire to see God and unite with God. And it's at this very moment where Isaac is about to meet his fate, where instead of disaster, he transcends the moment and grasps on to something beautiful, grand, and strong. I'm able to present a small preview of what that aria will sound like. Renowned tenor John Tessier, who with the Atlanta Symphony is cast as Isaac, graciously agreed to sing an excerpt of this aria with a piano reduction. It's a very soft aria, and in real life it will be orchestrated for soft strings and harp. But in the following excerpt, you'll hear the lightness of John's voice and the longing, sweet aria that I've attempted to write to represent the soul's desire to come close to God rather than despair. The oratorio moves to another important moment with again tumultuous choir and orchestra. This time I choose text from Rosh Hashanah liturgy. The liturgy addresses God and says, just as Abraham suppressed his mercy to do your will, God, you too suppress your anger against your people, against the world, against humanity. The major theological question about this account is, what's God doing? We'll never know. But the basic question is, if God knows everything, then why does God need to test Abraham? In fact, why put him through the torture and the pain of killing a son, of all things, with his own hand? I found an answer through these rabbinic midrashim that I like very much, and that I hope comes through in the music that I've written, which is that the test is not for God. He knows what would happen. The test is for Abraham. That Abraham had the potential to do this, but he would have never known about it unless he was asked. And it was exactly this potential to be brought to actualization of a people. In this time, this message of my oratorio is so apropos of what's going on. As a society and a world, we've seen so much difficulty and struggle and pain socially, as a nation, in our health, with COVID. And it's my hope that my oratorio is able to bring this message of faith and hope and courage to everyone. The premiere of the Oratorio was supposed to be in April of 2021, but it's been pushed off because of COVID. But it's coming nonetheless. The Atlanta Symphony has commissioned this work with the amazing Robert Spano as music director, who will be conducting the premiere, along with the mighty Atlanta Symphony Chorus. I'm happy to announce that the Nashville Symphony, with my dear friend Giancarlo Guerro, will also co-commission this work and record it for commercial release. And another orchestra or two are signing up as co-commissioners, and they'll be announced in due time. Russell Brown, wonderful baritone, is slated to sing Abraham. John Tessier, tenor, is cast as Isaac. And the Word of God, not a bass, but a countertenor, a light, supple voice, sung by the wonderful James Leon. I have so longed to write an oratorio such as this. I'm so happy now that my potential as a composer will come into actualization.